Dylan stood at the kitchen counter that Friday morning, watching Mia pack her overnight bag with an ease that should have told him something. She tossed in a sundress and her favorite sandals, humming softly to herself as she zipped the bag shut. "So you're really going through with this beach trip, huh?" Dylan said, stirring his coffee but keeping his tone light. "Yeah, babe, I really need this," Mia replied, walking over to kiss his cheek. "Work has been insane lately, and I just need to clear my head, you know? Ben said I could use the place any time, and honestly, it's just sitting there empty." Dylan nodded, though something flickered in his chest for just a moment before he pushed it away. "I get it, you deserve a break." He trusted Mia completely, and Ben had always seemed like a decent guy from what little he knew. The breakup between them had been mutual and years ago now, so why would he worry? "You're the best," Mia said, squeezing his hand. "I'll be back Sunday night, and then we can binge that new series you wanted to watch." "Deal," Dylan said, watching her grab her keys and head toward the door. "Drive safe, okay?" "Always do," she called back, and then she was gone. The house felt quieter than usual that weekend. Dylan threw himself into his work, sketching out designs for a new project that had been weighing on him. But even as he worked, his mind kept drifting back to Mia, wondering if she was okay, if she was really just relaxing like she said. He told himself he was being ridiculous, that his imagination was running wild for no reason. Sunday came and went with no sign of Mia. Dylan texted her, asking if everything was okay, but her responses were short and delayed. "Just need a little more time," she wrote. "Be home soon." Monday turned into Tuesday, and then Wednesday. Dylan's concern grew into something else, something heavier. He called her, but she didn't pick up, leaving him staring at his phone, feeling helpless and confused. Finally, on Thursday evening, the front door opened, and Mia walked in, looking exhausted. Her hair was pulled back messily, and her eyes were red like she hadn't slept in days. Dylan jumped up from the couch, relief flooding through him, but it was quickly replaced by alarm. "Mia, what happened?" he asked, rushing over to her. "Worried. You said you'd be back Sunday. I've been going crazy." She didn't answer right away, just stood there looking at him with an expression he couldn't read. It wasn't relief or happiness to see him. It was something darker, something filled with guilt. "We need to talk," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. Dylan felt his stomach drop, those 4 words carrying a weight that made the room feel smaller. "Okay," he managed. "Let's sit down." They moved to the couch, but Mia didn't sit close to him like she normally would. Instead, she perched on the edge, looking down at her hands, twisting them nervously. Dylan's heart pounded in his chest as he waited for her to speak. "I don't know how to say this," she began, her voice shaking. "I made a mistake, Dylan. A terrible mistake." "What kind of mistake?" Dylan asked, though part of him didn't want to know. Mia took a deep breath, tears streaming down her face now, sobbing. "Something happened with Ben. I didn't plan it, I swear, but we were talking and drinking wine and it just happened, Dylan. I'm so sorry." The words hit Dylan like a physical blow. He felt the air leave his lungs, his mind racing to process what she was saying. "You slept with him," he said, his voice flat with disbelief. "Yes," Mia whispered, unable to meet his eyes, crying harder. "And there's more." Dylan didn't think it could get worse, but the look on her face told him it could. "What else, Mia? Just say it." "I'm pregnant," she said, the words hanging in the air between them like a bomb waiting to explode. "And Dylan, the baby, it's Ben's." Dylan sat frozen on the couch staring at Mia as if she were a stranger. The woman he loved, the woman he had planned to marry someday, had just torn their world apart with a few sentences. He wanted to scream, to throw something, to demand answers, but all he could do was sit there in stunned silence. "Say something, please,"
Mia begged, reaching for his hand desperately. "Dylan, I know I've hurt you, but please, just talk to me." He pulled his hand away sharply, standing up and walking to the window. "What do you want me to say, Mia?" he said, his voice cold and controlled. "That it's okay? That I forgive you? That I'll just pretend this didn't happen?" "No, I don't expect that," she said, wiping her tears with shaking hands. "I just need you to understand that I never meant for any of this to happen. I went there to clear my head, to think about us, about our future." "To think about us?" Dylan repeated, turning to face her, laughing bitterly. "So you slept with your ex while thinking about our future. That makes perfect sense, Mia." "It wasn't like that," she protested, standing up now. "We were talking about old times and, I don't know, I got confused. I started remembering what we had, and then we had wine, and things just spiraled." "Stop making excuses," Dylan snapped, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. "You made a choice. You chose to betray me, to throw away everything we built together, and now you're pregnant with his child?" The reality of it hit him again like a wave crashing over him. Ben's child, not his, a constant reminder of Mia's betrayal that would exist for the rest of their lives. "What does Ben think about all this?" Dylan asked, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Is he excited to be a father again? Is he ready to play happy family with you?" Mia shook her head. "He knows about the pregnancy. I told him before I came home. He wants to be involved, Dylan. He wants to support the baby." "Of course he does," Dylan said, scoffing. "And what about you? What do you want, Mia? Do you want to be with him? Do you want to go back to your ex and raise this baby together?" "I want to be with you," Mia said, stepping closer to him, pleading. "I love you, Dylan. I made a horrible mistake, but I love you. I don't want Ben. I want us." Dylan looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the desperation in her eyes, the genuine remorse. But was that enough? Could love survive this kind of betrayal? Could he wake up every day and look at a child that wasn't his, knowing how it came to be? "I need time," he finally said, his voice exhausted. "I can't think right now. I can't process this. I need you to leave." "Leave?" Mia repeated, shocked. "Dylan, this is our home. Where am I supposed to go?" "I don't know," he said coldly. "Maybe back to Ben's beach house. Maybe that's where you belong now." The words cut through Mia like a knife, and she broke down completely, sobbing uncontrollably. "Please don't do this. Please don't push me away. I know I hurt you, but we can work through this. We have to at least try." "Try?" Dylan said, laughing without humor. "You want me to try, Mia? You didn't try to stay faithful. You didn't try to respect our relationship. You just did whatever you wanted without thinking about the consequences." He grabbed his jacket from the chair and headed toward the door. "Where are you going?" Mia called after him, panicking. "Out," he said without looking back. "I can't be here right now. I can't look at you." The door slammed behind him, leaving Mia alone in their home, the weight of her actions crushing down on her.
Dylan drove aimlessly through Charleston, his mind a chaotic mess of thoughts and emotions. He ended up at his best friend Marcus's apartment, banging on the door until Marcus opened it, looking confused. "Dylan, man, it's almost midnight. What's going on?" Marcus said, stepping aside to let him in. "Mia cheated on me," Dylan said, the words feeling surreal coming out of his mouth. "She's pregnant with her ex's baby." Marcus's eyes widened in shock. "What? No way." "Man, sit down. Tell me everything." Dylan collapsed onto the couch and told Marcus the whole story, from Mia's weekend trip to her confession. Marcus listened without interrupting, his face growing more serious with each detail. "That's heavy, brother," Marcus finally said, sighing. "I don't even know what to say. What are you going to do?" "I have no idea," admitted Dylan, running hands through his hair. "Part of me wants to walk away completely, to never see her again. But another part of me still loves her, Marcus. I can't just turn that off." "Love isn't always enough, though," Marcus said carefully. "Can you really forgive her? Can you raise another man's kid knowing how it happened?" Dylan had been asking himself the same questions all night. "I don't know," Maybe I'm a fool for even considering it, but we built something together. We had plans. We were happy. You were happy, Marcus corrected, until she decided to blow it all up. Look, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but you need to think about yourself here. What do you want, Dylan? Not what Mia wants, not what's best for the baby. What do you want? Dylan sat in silence for a long time, thinking about Marcus's question. What did he want? He wanted to go back in time to stop Mia from going to that beach house, but that wasn't possible. The damage was done. Now he had to figure out how to move forward. I need to talk to her again, Dylan finally said. I need answers. Need to understand how this happened and what she really wants. Just promise me you won't let her manipulate you, Marcus warned. She made her choice. Now you need to make yours. Dylan returned home around 2 in the morning, finding Mia asleep on the couch, tissues scattered around her. He stood there, watching her for a moment, remembering all the nights they'd fallen asleep together, planning their future. Now, that future seemed impossible. He gently shook her awake. Mia, we need to talk. She sat up quickly, her eyes puffy from crying. Dylan, I'm so glad you came back. I was so worried. I need you to be completely honest with me, he said, sitting across from her, serious. Do you have feelings for Ben? Are you still in love with him? Mia took a deep breath, hesitating. I thought I was over him completely, but being there with him brought back memories, feelings I didn't know I still had. But Dylan, that doesn't mean I want to be with him. What I feel for you is so much stronger, so much more real. Then why did you sleep with him? Dylan demanded, frustrated. If what we have is so real, why did you risk it all? Because I was scared, Mia admitted, crying again. Scared of how serious things were getting between us. Scared of commitment, of the future. We'd been talking about marriage, about kids, and I panicked. I made a terrible decision in a moment of weakness. Dylan shook his head, disbelieving. So you ran back to your ex. That's your excuse? You were scared of our future, so you destroyed it? I know how it sounds, Mia said, voice shaking. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm asking for a chance, Dylan. A chance to prove that I can be the woman you deserve. What about the baby? Dylan asked, the question that had been haunting him. What's your plan there? I'm keeping it, firmly Mia said. I know that complicates everything, but I can't make any other choice. Ben wants to be involved, and I think that's important. But Dylan, I want you in this child's life too, if you'll have us.
Dylan knew he couldn't make a decision without talking to Ben. He needed to hear the other side of the story to understand what really happened that weekend. So he got Ben's number from Mia and called him, demanding they meet. They agreed to meet at a coffee shop downtown the next morning. Dylan arrived early, his nerves on edge. When Ben walked in, Dylan immediately recognized him from photos Mia had shown him, tall with sandy blonde hair and an easy smile that made Dylan's blood boil. Dylan, Ben said, extending his hand, awkwardly. Thanks for agreeing to meet. Dylan ignored the hand, sitting down across from them coldly. Let's skip the pleasantries. I want to know what happened that weekend. I want the truth. Ben sighed, pulling his hand back and sitting down, uncomfortable. Look, man, I know you're angry, and you have every right to be. What happened between Mia and me was wrong. I take full responsibility. Full responsibility? Dylan repeated, scoffing. You slept with another man's girlfriend, Ben. You knew she was with me. You knew what you were doing. You're right, Ben admitted, looking down. I did know. But Dylan, you have to understand, Mia and I have history. We were together for 3 years. We built a life together. And when she showed up at my place that weekend, looking lost and confused, something in me hoped that maybe we could try again. So you took advantage of her? Dylan said, his voice rising, angry. No, it wasn't like that, Ben protested, defensively. We talked for hours about everything, about our past, about her relationship with you. She told me she was having doubts, that she wasn't sure if you were the one. And then one thing led to another. Dylan felt like he'd been punched in the gut. She said she had doubts about me? Ben nodded, reluctantly. Yeah, man, I'm sorry, but that's what she told me. She said she loved you, but wasn't sure if she was ready for the life you wanted together. The marriage, the kids, all of it scared her. Dylan sat back in his chair, processing this new information. Mia had told him she was scared, but hearing it from Ben made it more real, more painful. And now she's pregnant with your baby? Dylan said, bitterly. How convenient for you. You get her back and a child. I don't want to get her back, Ben said, surprising Dylan, seriously. At least not like this. I care about Mia. I always will. But I'm not trying to break you two up, Dylan. If she chooses to be with you, I'll respect that. All I want is to be a father to my child. And if she chooses you? Dylan asked, challengingly. Ben met his eyes, honestly. Then I'll be there for both of them. But Dylan, she doesn't love me anymore. She loves you. Anyone can see that. What happened between us was a mistake, a moment of weakness fueled by nostalgia and alcohol. Dylan wanted to hate Ben, wanted to blame him for everything. But sitting here, listening to him, he realized Ben was just as caught up in this mess as he was. They were both victims of Mia's confusion, of her inability to face her fears. What am I supposed to do? Dylan asked, exhausted. How am I supposed to move forward knowing she betrayed me, knowing she carries your child? I can't answer that for you, Ben said sympathetically. But I will say this, Mia made a mistake, but she's a good person, Dylan. She loves you deeply, and she's terrified of losing you. If you can find it in yourself to forgive her, to work through this, then maybe you two can come out stronger on the other side. And if I can't, Dylan said, quietly, then you walk away, Ben replied, shrugging. You deserve to be happy, Dylan. Whether that's with Mia or without her, only you can decide. But don't let anger make the decision. Take time, think it through, and choose what's best for your heart. Dylan left the coffee shop more confused than ever. Ben had been surprisingly reasonable, even sympathetic, but that didn't change the facts. Mia had cheated, she was pregnant, and their relationship was shattered. Beyond that, Dylan kept thinking about what Ben said about Mia having doubts about their future together. Had he missed signs? Had he pushed her too hard toward commitment?
Saturday morning, Tyler arrived at the coffee shop 10 minutes early and his palms sweating as he waited for Sarah to arrive. She walked in looking nervous and hopeful, wearing the blue sweater he had given her last Christmas and her hair pulled back the way he always loved. They ordered their usual drinks and sat at a corner table, where the morning sunlight streamed through the windows, creating patterns on the worn wooden surface. Tyler spoke first after a long, awkward silence. I have been doing a lot of thinking, Sarah, and about us, and about whether I can move past what happened. Sarah, anxious, gripped her coffee cup tightly, waiting for him to continue. What you did hurt me more than anything I have ever experienced. And the lying and the betrayal, and the fact that you were thinking about someone else while planning a future with me. Sarah looked down at her cup, sad, unable to meet his eyes. But I also realize that relationships are complicated, and people are complicated, and sometimes we hurt the people we love, not because we do not care, but because we are dealing with our own pain and fear. Sarah looked up, surprised by his words. I'm not saying I forgive you completely, Tyler continued, and because trust takes time to rebuild, but I am willing to try if you are truly committed to doing the work. Sarah, crying, reached across the table, and this time Tyler did not pull away when she took his hand. I am committed, Tyler, and I promise you with everything I have that I will spend every day proving I deserve your trust. And I have cut Evan completely out of my life, and I am in therapy working through my issues, and I will be completely transparent with you about everything. Tyler squeezed her hand gently. We need to set some ground rules moving forward. Complete honesty about everything, no matter how small, access to each other's phones and social media, and couples counseling together in addition to your individual therapy. Sarah nodded eagerly, agreeing to everything. "Whatever it takes, Tyler. I will do whatever it takes." They spent the next 2 hours talking through everything that had happened, and Sarah explained in detail her therapy revelations about her mother and her fears of losing herself in marriage. Tyler shared how the betrayal had made him question his own judgment and wonder if he had been blind to problems in their relationship. "We were not perfect before this happened," Tyler admitted, "and maybe we both got too comfortable and stopped really communicating about the hard stuff." Sarah agreed and acknowledged that she had been pulling away emotionally for months, but had not known how to express her fears without hurting Tyler. Over the following months, Tyler and Sarah attended couples counseling every week with Dr. Martinez, who helped them develop better communication skills and rebuild trust. Progress was slow and painful, with setbacks along the way when Tyler would see something that reminded him of the betrayal and the hurt would come flooding back. But Sarah remained patient and consistent, showing up every day to prove her commitment and being completely transparent even when it was uncomfortable. 6 months after the betrayal, Tyler moved back into their apartment, but they agreed to hold off on engagement talks until they both felt the relationship was on solid ground. One evening, while cooking dinner together, Sarah turned to Tyler with tears in her eyes. "I know I don't say this enough, but thank you for giving me another chance when I didn't deserve it. And thank you for doing the hard work with me instead of just walking away." Tyler, thoughtful, set down the knife he was using to chop vegetables and pulled Sarah into his arms. "I gave you another chance because I believe people can change and grow from their mistakes, and because despite everything, I still love you, and I still see a future with us." Sarah held him tightly, knowing how lucky she was that Tyler had chosen forgiveness over bitterness. A year after the incident, Tyler and Sarah hosted a dinner party for Marcus and Emma, who had both supported them through the darkest time in their relationship. As they all sat around the table, laughing and sharing stories, Sarah felt overwhelmed with gratitude for the second chance she had been given. Later that night, after their guests had left, Tyler found Sarah standing on their balcony, looking up at the stars. "Penny for your thoughts?" he said, coming up behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. Sarah leaned back against him. "I was just thinking about how different things could have been if you had not been willing to forgive me, and how close I came to losing everything that matters." Tyler kissed the top of her head. "We both learned something valuable through all this. I learned that love sometimes means taking risks and being vulnerable again after being hurt. And you learned that running from commitment only creates more problems." Sarah turned in his arms to face him. "I learned that the grass is not greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. And I am committed to watering our garden every single day for the rest of my life." They stood together in the moonlight, two imperfect people who had chosen to fight for their relationship instead of giving up when things got hard. What we learn: relationships can survive betrayal if both people are willing to do the painful work of rebuilding trust. Healing requires complete honesty, vulnerability, and a genuine commitment to change. While forgiveness is a gift we give, not because someone deserves it, but because we choose love over bitterness and understand that everyone makes mistakes and everyone deserves a chance at redemption when they truly work to become better.